Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined tonight by my co-host, Garth Over.
How are we doing tonight?
And our director of propaganda, Joe, who is still muted.
It's okay, Joe.
He'll be here. He's here in spirit.
He's got a stage fright.
I know he's here.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I gotta finish eating. I was shooting videos and didn't tell Jess what to make for supper. So,
Okay.
and then I was trying to get my game on. So if you see me staring up at the sky like that last episode, it's because I'm watching the hockey game. Go USA!
Oh, go USA! That's right. It's the finals tonight.
They just tied it up 1-1. So
It's in Boston, right?
yeah, they're in Boston.
Did they boo the Canadian national anthem?
So they say we're better than them.
Say that again. You cut out.
We say we're better than them.
Yeah, that sounds about like Canadians. I can't hear it.
Yeah, it was. No, we did not. We still
Okay.
respected it. And yes, I heard that we had just scored because I could hear my daughter yelling upstairs.
Nice.
She is watching it, so that is good. And yes, broken robots are a thing.
Yeah,
And,
it happens.
Yeah, it's happened to me before,
It has.
like several times.
It probably happens to me, but I don't know. So
That's okay.
yeah.
So have you guys since it has been ruggedly cold?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done anything with firearms?
Yes. Oh, so much actually. I don't want to get us kicked off YouTube, so I don't want to show it. But I did buy a new SIG. Super happy about.
Well, we haven't got kicked off the last couple times we showed guns because YouTube kind of got in trouble for that.
Oh, did they?
So
Well, should I try it then? Should I go
you
for
can
it?
try it.
Okay.
If you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, make sure you have a Rumble account ready in case we get booted.
Yeah. So I picked up the X Full, which I was super stoked about. It was used, and threw a Leopold on there, and super stoked because I'm going to turn this into my pickup gun. I believe one of them. I'm not sure if it's going to the Jeep or the pickup, but it'll go to one of them. And then yes, because it is super cold out, I have been doing a lot of dry practice in my house and using the Ace VR and going ham on that. Having some technical difficulties with it, it keeps jumping between the headset and the gun to my location. So it keeps jumping me ahead in the matches. Not like skipping stages, but just pushing me forward. So all of a sudden I'm right here next to a target that was 25 yards away.
That's because you hit the you hit the joystick generally.
No, see, I know it's because the joystick does that, but it happens on my reloads. So I think my joystick sensitivity is off. So I've been trying to fix it. And so I went and cleared everything. And now it's a flip-flop. So I've got to go recalibrate my controller. So that's going to be the project after the podcast tonight. But I've had a lot of fun doing that. I turned around because I didn't realize it calibrates your rounds and what you would have actually spent in ammo. I've already spent like $600 in ammo in the last 2 days. I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
Yes. And those things happen. I know I haven't been running my Ace as much because I had new windows installed.
Mm-hmm.
So my entire basement was destroyed.
Sorry, go ahead.
When I say destroyed, I mean we had to move everything. There's still piles of things in the middle because since we moved everything in our house, my wife decided it was a good idea to like go through and this is the time we'll donate to hospice.
Oh, that's good.
Start doing all those things, which does work. And then as a side result of that, as doing some organization stuff, I cleaned my office and like gutted it.
Nice.
So I have a proper workbench again.
Mm-hmm.
That's empty. And
I've seen pictures. It's not quite empty, but I mean, it's a lot more than it was.
I mean, there's still tools on it and parts bins and stuff like that because I've also been working on projects.
Well, that's good.
Because it's cold, and as we've said before, I apparently have a hard time with sitting still or relaxing.
Yeah.
Because all I know how to do is work.
But if you're working with gun things, are you really working or are you relaxing?
It's relaxing to me.
I know, exactly. So
so I also had almost need a moment of silence because I broke my Somo Gear knockoff pure Chinesium PEC, my PEC 15 that I'd been using, that we'd done all of our night vision shoots with and everything like that. I put John says his crew is coming to install Windows on Monday. Yes, we had that happen as well here. And when we popped everything on, it anyways, I got distracted there and went back. But I broke my laser, but I had ordered another one because my old one broke. And when I did that came in yesterday. So I got it mounted, and I also did some other swaps to keep testing. Another one because I'd put that cheap one I received for the Christmas Krampus gift exchange that I'm a part of, that I got the light laser combo. We moved that over to a 223 platform.
Nice.
And we're going to start running that. And then I got the new SMS. How does this one goes? It's a ton of letters. The SMS HFXC, which is a light laser combo. And I've seen a lot of good reviews on it. It's sub $300. I've seen guys shooting it and they're beating it off logs and like banging it on things, like tomahawk chopping it. And it had like a 3 MOA shift at 1,000 rounds. So if we're looking at a sub $300 light laser combo that'll hold 0 through 1,000, I think we're on to something. And I have one of those mounted to my standard night vision setup now, and we'll be testing and playing with that. What
gun did you move your laser combo from the PCC to? Because you said you put it on 223. Did you go with the 180 or did you go with the other one?
Nope, I put it on the BRN 180.
Okay.
And then I was going to put it on originally I was going to put the SMS on the BRN. But I did not because, I don't have a riser on that. And the fact that it blocked the bottom part of the optic bothered me. So I didn't do that. And that one did not have so I had an option to mount that one on the side. So I did.
That's fair.
And then Joe, I know you've been doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. You guys talk long enough, I can finish eating. I'll start with, you go back to the whole showing a gun on YouTube. If you guys follow or anybody watches the Unsubscribed Gang, their last range day, they actually had execs from YouTube out there, and they started them on 22, and by the end of the day, they were shooting full auto. So hopefully that kind of enlightened some of their eyes to, we're not a bunch of hillbillies, that we, there's a lot of people out there that are very safe with their guns, and they're not super dangerous if you know what you're doing. So maybe, like Nick said, maybe they did get in trouble. Hopefully they're moving in a better direction on just, hey, we're standing here showing it. It's not going to hurt anything. But I've been up to quite a bit. I don't even know where to start. I had to make 2 trips over to Nick's this week to pick up my PCC the first time. And So we got a Diamondback. Is it DB9R? The R is for the rifle because they also have the pistol in DB9. Plan with that is it's going to be my race gun this year for PCC. I'm going to get out to the range this weekend when it warms up by 50 degrees or it's 70 degrees, depending on what day you look at last week. And, get some video of it stock. And then I'm going to bring it home and what I'm affectionately calling the LS swap. I'm going to rip all the internals out and comp and run some Gucci stuff in it and see what kind of difference that makes. So starting with a right around $700 rifle. Right now I'm looking at about another 6 to 8, depending on what trigger and comp I run for upgrades, which gets you to a pretty decent off-the-shelf rifle. It's probably going to be better than a lot of them. So that's going to be interesting. We also got the tax stamp finished or approved the next day after I talked to Nick. So I had to go back over there on Tuesday night and pick up my integrally. I never say that word right.
Integrally.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad on my videos then. Suppressed Yankee Hill resonator. So that's a 9.1 inch 300 blackout barrel with a pinned and welded. I don't know what pinned, but welded. Permanent suppressor, the resonator suppressor. So I started the build on that. That's going on my Hellbreakers Spark or I can't think of who makes it. Sharps Brothers Hellbreaker lower. My build was going along pretty good here tonight until I ran into a bolt problem in the grip. So I'll worry about that tomorrow when there's more time to play with it. Beyond that, did set up trying to set up a studio in the basement to shoot some video so that we can get some more content out there on the different platforms and show what we do and play with stuff. And hopefully we get some good video, and we're planning on going out this weekend. I also got my Prism Dot, the Raider that showed up today that's going on the PCC. So looking forward to getting some of them builds finished and getting some nice weather to get out and shoot.
Oh, yeah. That is great. And I know that I'm excited to do some side-by-side with that 300 Blackout Integral and like my standard. I may have enough parts on hand to do another 8-inch 300 Blackout pistol build without like delving too deep into any of my part stashes. So we could actually run it side by side to see that it's running good.
I was just trying to think, when was the last time you actually shot 300 Blackout?
Me?
Yeah.
We shot it this fall. That's what Marnie took deer hunting. So we zeroed it, shot it, and got everything up and running with that. So,
Fair
and then
enough.
since it was out, I threw some subsonic through it just because I was like, oh yeah, this thing's quiet. Isn't that nice?
Fair. I just haven't done one yet. I owned one for a brief moment in history, but I never even fired it.
I've had one that right before the 2012 craziness, we had bought some New Frontier polymer lowers for like $90, $100 a piece. And I put then I bought a complete upper. Well, not a complete upper, pretty much a complete upper. Paid like way too much for a complete bolt carrier group. And I've had one for a while. I don't shoot it that much. Just other things, running competition. I prefer to run my actual 5.56 or 2.23s and work with them. I just didn't take it to the range and play with it. I wish I would have, but I know I'll like and probably shoot this one a lot more with everything we're doing with it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to see how that one works out. Also, as they're talking about NRA AM, or NRA annual meeting is going to be in Atlanta, and I will not be going, but I have too many other irons in the fire at that point in time.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to make that late in April, but it may be fun. I wouldn't say no, but yeah.
Nope. So, guys, I know that we have the title up here that Silence is Golden, and Joe just got his stamp back. Garth, have you even shot the can that you got yet?
No, I haven't. I put it on a gun. I haven't shot it yet. No, I kind of forgot about it because I put it on a gun that was already sighted in, and then didn't realize that I might have to go check zero now. But so yeah, that's my bad.
Yep. So in the past 3 months, all of us have gotten new cans, and we should maybe talk about silencers a little bit.
Yeah, silencers. I love them.
And that has been Deep Thoughts with Garth.
I mean, come on, let's be real. I didn't think I ever would need one other than it, because when everyone first buys a suppressor, like, I'm gonna put it on a pistol, it's gonna be movie theater quiet, and that's why you go buy one, and then you realize it's not. But there's so many good reasons to have a suppressor. I now have 14 of them.
I'll be honest, I was never the guy who thought it was going to be movie quiet.
No, I was 100%. And the 22 one is.
I've known they're not going to be quiet, and like Gar said, yeah, the 22 one is super quiet, but a lot of people don't realize that you can suppress as much as you want, but when you crack the sound barrier, there's stuff you can't help, because that's what your three noise sources from a firearm is the muzzle blast, your breaking of the sound barrier because you're shooting sonic ammunition, and then the action. Now you can get, even with more than a 22, if you're running a bolt action sub-sonic round with a suppressor, you can get almost dead silent. It's very, very close.
Yeah, I've seen it with running some of those short action stuff, or like the 45 ACPs that you can get that are a bolt gun. Those are stupid quiet, like especially if you look at like a well rod or something like that.
Even the 300 blackout in a bolt action.
Yep.
They you shoot a subsonic, it's coming out of there rather quiet.
Yeah, and AR Drew says in the comments he's talking about this with bolt. He wants a short action 300 blackout, and he says Savage PCS or Q mini fix. I will say, like, I would go with the Savage, but really, the real answer here is you get a Ruger American Ranch that will take AR mags and 300 blackout, and that's the real ticket.
Fun fact: did you know my first Ruger American? I know you know this because you sold it to me. Was a 7.62. What a horrible idea that was.
By 39, and it took Ruger Mini 30 mags.
It did. It did. It was cool until they came out with the 223.
Well, if you're if you want it really short, then yes, I would look at. I'd probably look at the Savage over the Q, but that's just because Q's easier to find, or not Q. Savage parts are easier to find than Q, and that's. CZ Trail is cool as well because they're stupid light, but again, that's just my personal opinions. But yes, cut it down. You can actually buy you can buy barrels for Ruger Americans. They're not too bad to rebarrel. Like, that's a home project, much like a Savage 110.
That CZ Trail looks sweet.
But the guy sitting over here going, "No, just rebarrel your bolt action guns at home." I mean, they're not. It's easy to do after you figure out how to do it the first time. But no. So, guys, I figured we'd talk a little bit. As we were talking about silencers, the history of silencers is a storied one.
Mm-hmm.
And Garth, how much do you know about the history of silencers?
Well, I just from my brief looking up this week on Wikipedia, not much, because again, you know me, Nick. It's one of those things where I buy it. I don't need to go into the. I own a Ford. I don't need to know how the motor works. I put the key in, it turns, I go. That's how I am with guns too. As long as it fires, we're good. As long as it's quiet, I'm good.
So, Joe, I'm sure you know a little bit more.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I understand the slowing of the burn and using that pressure to disperse out instead of just letting it all out the barrel. A little bit of the history, starting back around the turn of the century there in 1900s. Most people probably don't understand or probably don't realize that it was actually developed by a car manufacturer.
It's developed alongside,
yeah, Maxim. He was a car parts engineer, and they were making mufflers, trying to make mufflers for cars, and at the same time made what he patented as the Maxim silencer. So, you get the people that want to cry silencer versus suppressor. The original patent was for a silencer.
Well,
and it wasn't until 85 that anyone actually patented it as a suppressor. So,
and technically, like, this is one of those you want to go way down the rabbit hole. The first one was designed for killing cattle, and it was like a Swiss or something like that.
Yeah, that was the Swiss guys. There's two Swiss guys that.
Right here we have Jacob Stahl that talked about it, and they said it could be used on other firearms as well because they were using it on the kill floor.
Yeah,
and
so even before that, though, even before them, because they were like the 1892 or somewhere around there. But
1892.
Sam Colt actually tried to design them in the 1850s. He never successfully created one, but start work.
He did, and that was the biggest thing on theirs was a lot of them were working on revolvers, so you had the forcing cone and the loss of pressure there. The silencer as we know it, or suppressor, or I'm just going to call can, was so Hiram Percy Maxim, whose father redesigned warfare with because he made the first commercially viable machine gun in the Maxim gun, which was Hiram Stevens Maxim. And so also I know we have at least one radio nerd watching tonight, and he was one of the co-founders of the ARRL, so the American Radio Relay League. So all the ham guys, he the guy who invented silencers and patented the first one was one of the pioneers of ham radio as well. But so there you go. There's some nerd stuff for you. So Dusky, I know you'll appreciate that. But when he went through, he developed it alongside, and he had, he pushed his firearm out first, and then they made one for, cars, and the Model A specifically, or a small engine, and they called it the Maxim silencer. And, now if you go through, one of these is a safety device that is, mandated by the federal government. And the other one is a $200 tax stamp, and they do the same thing. But I'm not bitter. You're bitter.
So in 2011, did you know it was actually the NRA that really pushed them into mainstream? Them and the American Silencer Association.
Yep.
Back in 2011, started pushing for them. The NRA, along with the manufacturers, to make manufacturing easier. And because I remember growing up, I was under the impression they were always illegal, before I'm talking like elementary school, junior high. without knowing that, oh, you can go buy a suppressor. You just got to put a, pay for the tax stamp and get a background check. Which I wonder how long a background check would have been in like 1985, because if nobody else is buying them, because they're.
It was. I know a guy who got one then.
Yeah. How long did you have to wait?
60 or well, it was 6 weeks.
Yeah. And so my point on that was, as they get more, as they get more popular, then you get, that's where the backlog started, because for whatever reason in the 30s the federal government thought, hey, we need to make sure Capone and his cronies aren't shooting people up in silence, which,
well, if you go through it, it actually had nothing to do with like the main thing that like if you get into the NFA. So here you go, I'm going to crawl on top of my soapbox again for a minute. But if you get into the NFA, they actually wanted to ban handguns in the NFA, which is where all the short-barreled rifle verbiage comes from, because they said if you're going to ban handguns, what makes people cut down? They'll just cut down the barrel, and they'll have a short-barreled rifle. So they said, all right, well, we're going to ban short-barreled rifles. And then the NRA successfully lobbied to get handguns taken off of the NFA, and they just left the short-barreled rifle verbiage in there because they're dumb, and politicians are going to politic. But it was actually the director of the Bronx Zoo who lobbied hard for silencers.
Like against them or for them?
No, to get them like added to the list.
Okay.
Because he was worried about people shooting the zoo animals. And as Dusky here says, it was about poaching, because it was during the Depression, so they were worried about people putting food on their tables.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And when they went through that, it's going to be a long road to hoe just to get that back, because oh, here we go. Vince says he had a FUD local shop owner tell me when I asked about how to get one of those silencers behind the counter in 2011. If you don't know, you don't need to know. Never bought anything there.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing how quick small businesses will ruin their own business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen it happen.
Over this exact topic.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, weird.
We're the only game in town. You were. All it takes is money.
Yeah. And time. It doesn't even really take that much money. It just takes a little bit of time and desire. And look, all of a sudden, you're not the only one in town.
Yep. But when we went through that, getting into silencers, so we touched a little bit on the history of it, and they went through, and they didn't even do fingerprint background checks up until, like, I can't remember when it was exactly it came through, because it was the background checks went through, and I don't remember if it was part of the Hughes Amendment or when they the Gun Control Act of 1968 that they started making everyone do fingerprints for them. Because originally it wasn't. It was just you paid the fine or paid the tax fee, and that was all it was.
Well, if you go back to the 20s and 30s when they were originally put on the NFA, how big were fingerprints anyways? Like, was there a local or a national database? It probably came around.
No.
They probably came in about the same time as they're like, oh, hey, we, when DARPA created the internet, we can be like, hey, we can all check the same thing at the same time. Probably a little bit more likelihood, but yeah, I guess I don't know the answer to that one either.
So I know we had one question of who was the first military branch to add or to use a silencer, and
the Marines are the first one to really start handing them out.
They're the first ones to do like mass scale.
Yeah, like I'm not talking like your special forces, SEALs. I mean, them guys have been using that stuff for a very long time. But
yeah, because you had like the OSS used them and all that running through back in World War II and getting into those things. As you go through, that's more or less what it was, and those were the first ones to use it. Then he moved on. I know the Navy used them. Well, a lot of the special forces did in Vietnam as they moved through when it came over. But the first wide scale was the Marine Corps.
And that was not super long ago, if I remember.
2020.
Correctly. Yeah, that they started. And correct me if I'm wrong here, because with that new M7 SIG, they're going to be a little bit more available, not just to your SF guys, but
so
boots on ground infantry.
The Marine Corps, theirs is going out. They'll have a total of 30,000. And what the Army did was with the M7 program, I think every M7 is suppressed or has a can. So it's going to be a thing.
Oh,
but yeah, when I ordered my first can, it was a long time ago. It was in 2011. And I did it the way every good American should. And I did it over a Budweiser in a gentleman's basement. And we played with a minigun and then an FAL. And I bought a Gemtech Quicksand silencer. And I paid $1,700 for that can. That was my first silencer.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I had an 18-month wait.
Ooh, that's fun. I think my first one was 13. And it was also a Gemtech.
There's a lot that goes along with that, though. Like I said, in 2011, when they started to go mainstream, and you had manufacturers that could make them cheaper, which meant more people wanted to buy them. And that tax stamp, that $200 was crazy in the 30s, was nothing anymore. That's when you started seeing that backlog of, oh, hey, this is going to take a lot longer than it really should.
Well, and that's also when we started to see some of the myths come out about like the things they used to say about cans that have since been walked back a lot. And that was, things like a silencer is going to make your gun inaccurate, and you would have a bunch of those things happen where they go, it's
well, yeah, when I put one on in Call of Duty, when I put one on my weapon, it makes it worse, but it's quiet.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, they like everything they do, everything about a can is an improvement to your weapon.
It is much like another improvement you could have, which would be a VZ grip. And the unique features of VZ grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10. And G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options and shorty versions available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. And there's one coupon code that is good for all 50% off all handgun and rifle grips. And that code is AR-15 podcast. But as we talked about, I heard a cork get pulled.
I heard a cork get pulled too.
But no, when you go through, here we go. I'm going to get to this in a second, and I'll be here in a second. I know Huxwork isn't great at sound reduction, but my ARs run better and much cleaner than my baffled cans. And my guns or I shoot better with them. So here is one of the things about cans that nobody talks about or really realizes. And that is that cans will actually increase accuracy a lot of time. Like I have empirical data on this. I've ran suppressed and unsuppressed groups off the same rifle. And yes, there is a point of impact shift or POI.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason there is a POI shift, and generally sometimes it's very minuscule and other times it's not. But the reason there's a POI shift is because you're adding weight to the barrel, so you're changing the harmonics. So like as that comes through, you will have a slight shift in POI.
So you're slowing down that burn rate with the baffles and that. Does it change your velocity? Does it change
Actually, it does, but not in the way you're thinking.
Well, I was going to say, is it enough to change? Would that be a part of the impact change or not?
It is. That's the other half of it. So the other half of the equation is you do add that. So you add barrel, you add weight to your barrel, and that will change harmonics. But yes, Docty Scary Guy here was just going through here. Free bore boost. Correct. He knew I was going to say that. Free bore boost, because somebody has heard me yell about it before, apparently. Free bore boost, for anyone who doesn't know, is free bore means that the bullet is no longer in contact with the rifling. It is free inside of a bore. But it is still under pressure. It's just as that pressure is decreasing as it's going through inside of the can, which is allowing that gas to expand and then be contained, it is not getting the same pressure behind it as it is in the barrel, but it is still being accelerated because it has that coming out and it's still contained. It's smaller. You used to be able to figure it out, like if you had a 8-inch can, you could figure it to be roughly 2 more inches a barrel type thing, but that was an old rule of thumb that isn't really true.
Well, I think even if, like you said, it's an old rule of thumb. I've heard that before, but if you figure the improvements on the internals of the cans that we've seen, because there's been a lot more than just, hey, it's a bunch of washers screwed, welded into a fuel filter.
But, no, I can tell you this. I can tell you the most like basic can I have ever seen.
Potato.
Close.
You remember that one? Anybody else remember that myth? Put potato on the end of your gun,
and it just blows up the potato.
Yeah,
but
didn't work.
No,
we all tried it.
Maybe, but no. I think Garth might own one of these, but it's a can called the Po' Boy.
Well, see, that's what I was kind of curious about, because suppressors have been around for so long, and now all these new designs are coming out as far as baffles, because when you think of suppressors, a lot of guys are just keen on, well, there's baffles you insert and shoot, but now all these designs such as Yankee Hill and OSS Hooksworks now are doing.
US scored.
USA.
They're up 2-1.
But there's so many different designs, and I'm curious to know what changed between 60 years ago, 50 years ago to now, or even from 2011 to now. What just makes them so much better? Because again, it's the same concept design of you shoot through a hole, and it's all about design and material, and why all these suppressor companies are still battling it out. Because Nick and I, we went to GunCon, we went to SHOT Show, and we've seen different suppressor designs, and you and I have been without hearing protection and heard a definitely resounding quietness between, yes, as you're holding one right there. And so I'm just curious to know where all that plays in and such.
So one of the big things with it is, again, when we were talking about, like, that's an odd design that I just showed. That was my Yankee Hill Fat Cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I could screw the end cap off and show everybody the end of it. But if you go to our Instagram, you'll see, you'll be able to know why they call it the Fat Cat. You might even say it's the cat's ass. But no. So when you get into some of these designs, like when I talked about the most basic one, it was that Po' Boy was literally a steel tube that had spacers and fender washers inside of it. And that was the most basic concept of how a can works. It has stops or baffles to stop the gas from expanding and going out the end of the hole, but it is not the most efficient. And that is like the very basic and most base. Actually, if only there was a picture I could share to show this to anybody watching live.
Well, I think the quick and simple answer to Garth's question is everybody's trying to beat everybody. So you're changing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to hit. They're changing how they're putting the baffles in, which causes that burn rate to be different. And everybody's trying to one up. And
when you look at this, so the graphic I have on screen, you'll see there is kind of, or one of the original styles, which is a pipe cut into it that has different holes cut through it, welded inside of another pipe that allows that gas to expand. Then you move on to the one that just has the straight hole through it, which would be like the po' boy design, which is just in the very center of the bore. It has or center of the can. It has another bore through it, and it makes the gas stop and go around. Then you have a tilted can, like a tilted baffle. You started to see more of this opposed. You really started to see this in a lot when machining tactics got better. If you look at how some cans are cut apart, you'll see a variety of baffles going back and forth. So it really slows down and dissipates how that gas moves through. Then you move into the cone or K baffle style of a welded can. And then finally you have what I call proper K baffles, which have, they look like the letter K with a hole through them that have a cone and a disc, and all those things go together and can be based back and forth off one another. And then moving forward from that, you get into now we have what is known as additive manufacturing technologies. That's called 3D printing for anyone who didn't want to use a $5 word. Especially with materials like Inconel and things of that nature, or one of the first manufacturers to really get into 3D printing cans was Daniel Defense. And they did titanium sintering, which was they had titanium dust they would sinter or weld together with a laser. And when you do that, you can make a lot more finite products as it goes through, because you can adjust how it works. So the artist formerly known as OSS, well, they might not, Huxworks Safety Company, might not be known for having really great sound reduction. But when they changed how their back pressure ran and went to a low back pressure can, which is what you're seeing the trend go to, as those things happen, it works. The way they used to advertise, or Huxworks specifically, was they said we're a jet engine in reverse. And I know that when we first started the podcast, we had a company called The Mute on.
Yeah, we did.
And they were a can. I was actually really excited about it. They used an additive manufacturing. A couple people got them out. Then they kind of went away. Like all of a sudden they just vanished into the night. I'm not sure if they had problems with the material or what, but they also were doing it, and they were using the Venturi effect, which is the same thing that Huxworks use, where they use heat to move air. And it's all a matter of thermodynamics. And it's really cool from like an engineering and nerd side of the house.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should pay attention in school.
So essentially, with the design of the baffles, the better the design, the less heat you get with resistance, so the thing doesn't heat up and melt on the
no
3D printed stuff. No,
that's not what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just, that's what I'm trying to track here, because 3D print is
so 3D printing. They're when we're talking about additive manufacturing, they're doing it in metal.
Okay.
They're not doing it. Huxworks was not Huxworks. The Mute was a different company that used a different proprietary type of polymer that was supposed to be highly, and then we never heard anything about them. I saw people doing mag dumps with them on full auto guns, and they weren't melting. So don't get hung up on that. The heat exchange that I was referring to had to do with how the gases moved through it and slowed down.
Okay.
Because it would actually suck gases in from the outside to cool everything down as the heat gases were in there, because it worked like a reverse jet engine.
Okay. No, I can track that.
How cheap could you, using the say a cheap polymer, 3D print a suppressor?
Under $1.
How long would it last?
Theoretically,
like how long before I melted it down at sustained fire? Not saying full auto or.
So, from what I've seen in testing and stuff like that on, like what people are doing with like standard PLA and stuff like that out of the 3D printers, you're looking at 100 to 200 rounds. Some of them are getting higher.
Now, say I only deer hunt and I want to do that. That to me sounds like a win. Like how many, if you're not going to combat with it, if you're not trying to clear a prairie dog town in 5 minutes, you zero your rifle, you wait for it to cool off before you fire that next round. You only go deer hunting with it. I mean, I feel like that thing is going to last forever. Because, I mean, we all know that guy that goes deer hunting. The only time he takes his 30-06 out is to make sure it's still on zero and to make his 1 or 2 shots.
No, there's other places in the world where they've been running plastic or polymer suppressors, and they are a throwaway item. And
is that the Glock? Didn't Glock make one like that for like? Yeah. You buy it for like $100 or something.
Yeah, but aren't those places also you can go to get one over the counter? They'll just give it to you. You don't have to pay the tax stamp and wait.
Yeah.
Yep, and the most expensive part about 3D printing one is the washer, and there are things with that, and again, the lightweight hunting cans like the Gemtech Tracker come into play. I'm holding in my hand a lightweight aluminum can that was never designed for full auto fire or anything like that. This one's interesting because it's a tubeless stack, and so it literally is just baffles that are screwed together.
Is that the Rebel?
It is. They're not a bad can for what they are.
No, they're really not. Like for the price
that they were.
Yeah, that they were. Yes, it's a solid can. I still have 3 of them, and they're on bolt actions. I'm not putting them on ARs, but I know you have put them on your AR-10s and stuff, and they function just fine.
So that brings up another question. You've got your modular ones where you can add lengths. And then you've got the ones that are actually take apart cleanable. Have you seen a difference in how well does it still just come down to whatever they're using internally for baffles?
So I'm going to say this, and this is an unpopular opinion. And this is an unpopular opinion. Unlike the popular opinion that everyone needs reliable custom gear. Much like if you're in need of reliable custom Kydex holster, you should call Klecker Tactical. It's your one-stop shop using premium USA sourced material. Klecker Tactical will build you a holster in a variety of styles and colors along with light and laser options. Whether you're in law enforcement, a competitive shooter, or an everyday gun enthusiast, trust that Klecker Tactical will provide every firearm owner has access to top-tier and personalized holster, as well as custom products you can't find anywhere else. Use the code AR-15 podcast for 10% off at kleckertactical.com. Now,
you go out of his way to make sure you get what you're asking for, even if it is the weirdest thing you can cook and build. Because
but
I'm working with him right now. I think it's supposed to be coming. So
back to
see that.
Back to the question about things where I said unpopular opinion. User serviceable cans are overrated. The thing I would say user serviceable cans are important for is like 22s or rimfires where they can get overly dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a unfortunate downfall of the 22 rounds. It's dirty. Rimfire round is dirty. It's greasy. I'm surprised I don't have to clean my 1522 more.
So like a 22 can 100% should be user serviceable. For the rest of them,
yes, please. I was just going to ask.
So for the rest of them, like for a 223 can, I've actually moved to almost all of the cans I'm purchasing are welded, like so welded baffles that are non-user serviceable, and I don't ever clean them because how it works is a silencer works by slowing down the expansion of gases.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a nice, smooth, shiny surface, things move across it faster. If you have a roughed up surface like carbon, it slows it down and allows it to go through, which is why some of the additive manufacturing techniques will actually have like grit on the inside of them.
Well, some of the originals were made with like cleaning rags and stuff like that. So let's say you've got one of those non-user serviceables going back to the original inventions where they had fluid instead of baffles, they like fluid in them. If you just dump some solvent in it, plug it up,
shake it,
shake it up, and then just shoot it, are you going to lose it? I mean, it'll blow out some of that salt or that carbon, and is that a logical idea?
It's not bad. Cleaning them up, running a little solvent in it, squeezing them like as you push it through, that works great. Like again, shake it up so you can clean it out a little bit. That is good. There was also a time, and you will still see it occasionally, where you have wipes, and then you would have packing material in them as well. Wipes were on the end, and have that go through where it would push through. What you were talking about with the stuff that had what do they call it, a bellative or something in the
some sort of liquid. I don't remember what it was.
Well, it's generally what I've seen used was wire pulling gel in anything modern. And they would use that to help out, or a little bit of oil, and that would slow down the expansion as well. And it's as those go through, like it would use the gas and the fact that you can't compress a liquid to slow down the gas as well. Water is obviously the most effective, but it burns out the quickest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of them even use like steel wool. I mean, it's not like that. I mean, that's a bit burn up just as quick, but if you look into the history of it, like they played with a lot of things to see what would work. And there's certain things that work, but how long again, it goes back, like I was saying about the 3D printers. If I'm only going to go deer hunting with it, or even coyote hunting where I'm not shooting at a high rate of fire for a very long time, I mean, some of those cheaper ones, they might actually be better sound better sound suppression, while they wouldn't work in combat, would be great for the layman who's only going to shoot them 3 or 4 times a year.
Well, that's how I feel about my Rebel, because obviously, as Nick stated earlier, you can twist them apart and clean them, but I shot mine so much I can't do that now. Am I going to be in trouble if I stick mine in the sonic cleaner and run it? So, I mean,
here you go.
But would I want to?
When you're talking about the difference, so I have Yankee Hill Fat Cat right here in my hand.
Yep.
And I have a Rebel 30 cal that is substantially longer.
I've seen those videos on a different place.
Yeah, it's you and the guy she told you not to worry about.
Yeah.
But the short one the short one is heavier. But Dr. Scary Guy asked if I had looked at the 9 and 22 oil filter suppressors from Wade's Blades. I have seen some of the oil filter cans. I have never used one or been around them, but I've seen them and always kind of giggle every time I see them. One of the coolest ones I ever saw, Gemtech was going to make it. I don't think they ever did, but they called it the pillbox. And it looked like it was literally a keychain that you would screw onto a threaded 22, and it had 2 wipes, and you could put it on a pistol and pop it off. Now, when we get into pistols, I know we did our holster ad read already. Boo, John. But thank you for letting us know. A lot of pistols you can't run unless they have a fixed barrel with a can, unless you have a piston. GSL did that one. GSL designs everything for Gemtech. Yeah.
What did Luigi use? He didn't know what he was doing. 3D printer, but he didn't have the piston. That's why you see him racking it between each shot, right?
Yes. It was so when you get into a piston or Nielsen device, it is literally a spring that goes in, so it's threaded in, and it allows more dwell time as it has everything to go through on the handgun as the barrel is moving. So when the barrel is unlocked, it allows everything to move and to pull back in between, so it rocks, and well, it works like a piston and lets things move. which you need to have on a tilt barrel firearm. So, like, if you're shooting one of my beloved Berettas, you do not need one.
Good things to consider. I mean, I've really never thought about suppressing a pistol.
Yes.
Because,
So Dusky asks, is a pistol the same as a booster? Yes. Piston, booster, and Nielsen device are all the same thing. It's just a different nameology.
Fair.
Yep. So as we keep moving through here, I will go through. This is where I get to nerd out because I love the technical side of this.
You already told me you were going to nerd out over this episode, and I was going to sit back because, hey, I'm okay with it.
I didn't say you had to sit back.
Oh, no, I know, but I didn't want to say anything that was wrong, and I wasn't going to dive into this. I like suppressors. I don't need to know the function. It's very cool to learn about the functionality of all of them, and I've actually picked a few things up tonight, so I appreciate that from our headmaster, Nick.
Headmaster, whatever. You spelled guntism wrong.
Correct. We were talking about tisms earlier in another group, and everyone got offended by it, so I don't want to bring it up.
Okay.
But did you know something else, Nick?
What's that?
If you're slapping on a sticker in your gun case, ammo can, or truck window, make sure that it's one that actually sticks. At Sticker Phantom, we print high-quality, American-made stickers and labels that hold up under tough conditions, just like the gear you rely on. Whether you're repping your brand, marking your mags, or want something that screams America, we've got you covered. No cheap imports, no weak adhesives, just damn good stickers. So check them out at stickerphantom.com and use code ARPodcast for 10% off your first order, because freedom deserves a better sticker. Yes, Nick is holding up the Bluey sticker that we received for them at SHOT Show. I have a few others that I'm not going to put on screen because he sent them at my leisure. But we also have...
It's a penis.
All right, fine, I will. He sent me this one as well. Can you... Oh, it's reversed. For rectal use only.
No, it's showing up. It's showing up correct.
Oh, perfect.
It's right.
Good deal. He gave me 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them, and they're going on people's packages in the near future.
And Dusky, yes, you do need that.
Yes,
Yeah.
And you also need this one right here. It's
Steamboat Willie.
Yep, Steamboat Willie, AR-15 podcast. He's done some awesome designs for us.
Oh yeah.
I've had him do a few things for us already.
Check him out. Check out his Instagram. He's got a lot of the ones he's done. He does not just A2 stuff, Second Amendment stuff. There's a lot of off-road stuff. Yeah, he does a lot, and they're always, from the ones I've seen, top notch.
He how do I word this politely? He don't care about your PC feelings. He will print it, and it'll look good.
Hey, he's sending them to you. It's on you what they say. I mean,
I know how to properly word this. Remember, everyone, the First Amendment is incredibly important, but the First Amendment isn't there to protect speech you like. It's there to protect speech
you don't like. I agree 100%.
And it's only to shut the government up. It has nothing to do with what me and you say to each other.
Exactly, because that's solved with a stiff right hook.
I wish we could do that more. You know, peaceful would be if you could get away with just popping douchebags in the bar.
I mean, it's back to when we had a more civilized time.
It would be.
Yes, but Dusky, you definitely do need the 32 pillbox. So as we keep going on here, guys, is there anything else that we need to add to suppressors or talk about?
Do you know what the Brits call them? I mean, those.
I don't know. They call cigarettes fags. So.
I know. No, so yeah, they refer to them as a moderator because it moderates the sound.
That tracks.
So that goes back to, if you're one of those idiots that's like, it's a suppressor, not a silencer. We all know it. Yeah. Just get over yourself. Get off your high horse.
And that's going back to, like, that's peak Dunning-Kruger. It's a suppressor, not a silencer. Well, actually.
And If you're one of those people, get over yourself.
And then it's
kind of the same as the idiots. I know there's a difference, but the idiots that throw a fit every time someone says clip or magazine.
Oh,
there is a difference, but
yeah, I say magazine because that's what it is, and I enjoy being correct.
90% of the people are talking about a magazine, yes, but there are clips.
There are clips.
Yes,
there are clips.
And there are many of the clips, like my favorite, the stripper. And
I like strippers.
Yeah, clips and magazines. I get it.
But,
that one grinds my gears, just a little bit.
And the number of students.
But that one has more. That one actually has more substance, more bass than crying about suppressor over silencer.
Yeah, and it's I have people come through. Well, I just need a couple of clips here, like at a class or something. And it's like, well, your magazines are over here, and you just keep saying it. And
do you remember when we lit Danny up, Squack up on Facebook because he was trying to sell that?
Banana. It was a mini 30 clips. It was a mini 30 with 3 banana clips.
Yeah. Oh God, did we ridiculed that poor guy.
Like I asked for a banana for scale.
Yeah. It was bad, man. We were mean. He's one of our best friends.
And I could see him losing.
And not in chat. We lit him up on the post on Facebook.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Like when you could still sell guns on Facebook.
Yeah.
I
lit him up hard.
Yeah,
that was fun.
No, and
you don't have friends. If your friends don't do that kind of stuff to you, find new friends.
Correct.
Also, I know going back to our topic for the evening, one thing we didn't discuss, we didn't talk mounting systems tonight, because that's a whole nother hour and a half long conversation.
It is.
Direct thread, quick attachment, or quick detach, whatever you want to say it.
The hub mounting system
out there. I can tell you, for the same reason I buy specific rifles, I hate proprietary.
Yeah.
You're not using what everybody else is using. I'm not buying your junk because you're going to charge a stupid price for it. And I'm not going to be able to find aftermarket stuff for it. It's the reason the PCC I bought runs a Glock mag. My AR-10 is based off that Ruger platform. I don't want to pay for your proprietary retardness.
Yes, and that's why hub system is awesome, because you can do a lot with it, and it allows people to move beyond chemo or whatever the surefire mount is, or even the cherry bomb.
I will go to direct thread before I will worry about quick detached proprietary.
I
will die on that hill.
I prefer thread on. Quick detach is nice, but I like to marry all my suppressors to certain guns.
And I agree with you on that, Garth. There's if I'm buying a suppressor, it's probably specific to a firearm that I want, and it's probably only going to be shot that way after I get it. I understand, like, if you're in combat and there's, hey, we're about to go dark, throw on your suppressors and your nods. Oh, wait, we're engaging at 300 yards. We don't really care. They already know we're here. But if
I'm the lone dissenting here, because
that's just because you buy everything and you want to try it on everything.
No, like I've pretty much married up to one brand of can anymore.
You are, so that's why it works for you.
And that's fine, but you have to say, okay, I'm committed to this. Just like when you say, hey, you don't have one knee, will you marry me? And you say I do. You're like, you're stuck with that.
Well, and that's the good thing about the hub mounting system is now you can actually. What? Actually, it is. It does come from Utah, so it is polyamorous, and it allows you to.
Polygamous.
No, it's polyamorous because it loves everyone. It's just not married to them. See, it's if it's married, it's welded. like this one. This is polyamorous, or this is polygamous because it's married to one setup, but I can use it on anything. But this one is polyamorous because it has a setup in it, but I can change it to anything.
Are you saying it's pans?
No, I'm saying it's I could make it SRX, I could make it Phantom, I could make it Chemo. Pan. I don't know what that means.
It's a cat's
you
ass.
You should Google it later. Google pansexual and see what you get.
Hard pass. But,
or ask Frank. Ask Frank. He had a very fun conversation about that out in Guernsey one time.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yes, you guys and your slutty suppressors.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I have a handful. Like when I switched and got like when I got my first Yankee Hill Turbo, I said my first. I went, oh yeah, I'm just going to run this, and it's great because it was a hard use can that still worked for everything else, and like I could use it as a hard use can. I could use it for my PRS build. I could use it for. It was one can that I could kind of do everything with, and I could slide it back and forth across. And then I bought another one, and then I got a resonator, which was the 30 cal version of it, and that'll lock onto my 223 ones as well, so that mounting system works across. And now they have the SRX, which might be my favorite muzzle device yet I've seen on them. And now I want to convert all of my existing Phantom mounts to the RSX because I like it the most.
See, I think I'm just going to start going to the integrally suppressed and call it good.
Well,
I'm pretty sure my next purchase from Firearms Direct is going to be their 1522 upper that's fully suppressed. Like, I feel that's going to be a lot of fun. And then once you get your...
I just like how small that flash hider is.
Yeah.
Like, that is
especially when you're trying to shorten down the size of the rifle. Like, there's
that is just
nothing
dinky.
there. It's what Garth has to look at in the mirror.
Dr. Scary Guy says, danger if your 30 cal locks onto your 5.56 mounts. Sometimes your 5.56 cans will lock on to the 30 cal mounts. Ooh. Now, that is sometimes a thing.
Yeah, it's like throwing your 300 blackouts in your 5.56 upper.
I will say that none of mine will go onto my 30 cal because it's big enough that it doesn't accept it, but it will accept the 5.56. So,
hey, this just popped into my head because I remember it from the other day. Shush! It's actually suppressed the question. I had a guy the other day ask me about 30 cal cans, and he goes, "Hey, I have this 22 or 17 I'd like to suppress. Can I run my 30 cal can on it?"
Yes.
That's what I said.
You can run higher caliber suppressors on lower caliber rifles. You may lose a little bit of suppression because when you're shooting, the right caliber through the right can, you're plugging that hole. If you shoot a 22 caliber round through a 30 caliber hole, there's still that gas that's going to escape out the front because it's not tight.
Now, with that being said, generally you're going to lose, like, statistically, and when this gets made into an AI clip on YouTube, somebody inevitably is going to come out and yell at me because I got my figures wrong. And it's like between 1 and 5 decibels. And if you can clap your hands and tell me the difference in 1 and 5 decibels.
I was going to say, you can't tell me that without technology. You cannot show me the difference.
Yeah.
Unless you're sitting in a booth waiting for the beep and everything's ringing.
And then you're really, wondering about your life choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
So any other things tonight for cans, guys?
No cans.
I think we covered quite a bit.
But I do have something. And that is that they should check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co, because if you can see behind me, if you are watching live and watching Nick's screen, you can see that Patriot Patch makes a lot of patches. And the best way to get all those patches is subscribe or sign up for their Patch of the Month Club, because they do fantastic work. As you can see in Nick's screen, they do some PVC patches that are awesome. The detail is fantastic. I love them. These guys love them. Check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
Yes, indeedy. And so John says, should I use my 30 cal can on my 5.7 pistol or my 22 can that's rated for 5.7?
Oh God, it might have been John that asked me.
I'm going to say this to you. Depending upon what so it's on your 5.7 pistol, I would say use your 22 can because it is lighter. And that is just to make things easier on all the operating system because you don't have the extra weight hanging up the end.
Without being an expert like Dooley, I would say the smaller can, if it's rated, go for it. Like, if it's rated for it, that's the company telling you you're good. If it blows up, I'd send it back. I'd be fighting with them, but that's just me.
Expert.
Yes.
I'm not. I've never called myself an expert.
You don't have to. We do it for you.
If anything, I've often said, like, guys, I'm not the expert. I learn stuff every day.
No, you're not a lawyer, and we appreciate that.
If you're not learning something new every day, and I don't care if it just means you watch Jeopardy and pick something up, you are doing a disservice to yourself and society.
Yep. So Dutch says that 22 can works great on 5.7, and I would agree with that. I would say it also, like, especially on the pistol, like the Keltec is going to be a little bit different because the Keltec P50 is a large frame pistol. Like, that's how we're going to do it. And I would still say to do that because you're going to have less of an issue. If you're using it on a standard pistol. Oh, I do have one retraction to make, speaking of pistols. I have a retraction and a correction to make from last week. Speaking of 5.7s and 5.7 pistols. You can suppress an M&P 5.7. Yes, the barrel does rotate, but it has a shroud that stops it from adjusting with the can. It is not like a Beretta PX4 Storm pistol where the rotating barrel makes you not allowed to have a can on it. I wanted to say that because I was corrected on it by several people.
Hey, but that's what separates us from the other side. We'll admit when we're wrong.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, no, it's a rotating barrel, like PX4 Storm. You can't do that. And I quit listening the first time I saw it because I was like, well, the first time I saw it, I was like, rotating barrel, don't want it, because I only wanted one if I could put a can on it. And, yeah, that was the thing. But so I just wanted to say that I would offer my retraction, and I was incorrect. I don't want to disparage anyone. So there.
Fair enough.
Well,
any parting remarks?
Vince is just gonna have to watch his own Rumble or YouTube.
Yeah, you have to watch the repeat.
We could repeat it all, but I feel like a couple of us would get in trouble with our significant others.
No,
we'd be here for like 3 hours.
Do show notes. We can't do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we started, we'd probably pick up more stuff. It'd be like 3 more hours if we redid this.
Oh, yeah, because I would probably find another rabbit hole to go down that would be even worse.
You're like the Doxy of the gun world. You just dig holes.
Are we going to make it through an episode without Lily?
She's the grandma's tonight. I had an eye appointment. I met Grandma at Runnings, and she took her in, and then I was like,
I still don't understand why you even go to Runnings to buy firearm stuff.
I don't. I went there for dog stuff. I go there for...
You do? Where'd you buy your last pistol?
Runnings. It was
what
used.
What do we see on Snapchat? Every time you go in there, you bitch about them. It's like, you should know better. Just call Nick, tell him, hey, this is what I need. He'll get it for you.
Oh, no, I don't buy new stuff there. I buy used stuff there because I'm not going to buy
I don't even care if it's used. Like, you're still arguing with dumb people.
Well, yeah. I like to argue with dumb people. It's fun.
I mean, yeah.
I like to be that guy that argues. I'll start an argument and then leave and then watch the world implode. It's fun to me.
I've been guilty of that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then I walk away.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That's a military thing, I think. You start an argument with two people and then walk away and watch them argue. Or when you're watching this two people argue like the same point, just from a different angle, you're like, you guys are agreeing. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, we did that last Saturday, Joe. Not you and I, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we devolve too much into anything else, guys, where can they find us on the social medias? Make sure that you subscribe, follow our social media content.
They should.
Hey,
they should.
And do me a favor. You can get I don't remember how many it is, stars on Facebook for 39 cents. Send us some stars. We need it to do some other stuff. Please. It's the only thing I'm going to beg of tonight.
Do that. Also, check out dangfree.net because dangfree.net is a fantastic place where you can socialize with Nick, I, and Joe off of the AR-15 podcast.
Just download the app. I know they're on iOS. Are they on? They should be on Android. If they're on iOS, I know they're on Android.
Yeah.
So download the app. Join everybody there. It's a great community.
And then beyond that,
you didn't meet Marnie.
Yeah. Yes, Marnie's on there. And then beyond that, it's AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. That's our email. Please send us an email.
Rumble. Hey, don't forget Rumble.
I won't forget Rumble. I was getting there.
Same, but different.
Same, but different. But yeah, please send us an email. Tell us your likes, dislikes, things that we can change. Don't talk about me because I'm sensitive. Anyway, please send us an email. We'd appreciate that.
Yes, and I'm going to say this now. Everyone, start sending in your questions. We're going to do another listener question email. And send them in. I'm going to try and not answer them all as they come in.
Yeah, you're pretty good at
that. What's that?
And that's not just through email. Hit us up. DM us on Facebook. DM us on Instagram. We'll try to get back to you.
No, we do get back to you. That's the problem. We'll answer all of them, especially Nick. So I'm like, 5 new emails. And I'll go like, those are answered now. Whatever.
We could still do it. I may answer your question before we get to the show, but yes, Dusky, I want your questions.
We want your questions.
I mean, I'm not sure about how to kill alligators. But
how's your knee doing, Kurt?
22s. I saw it on the Discovery Channel. Shoot them.
But yes. So guys, go through, send them through, and send us your questions. Send all those things in. And next week, everyone, next week is a special episode.
Next week's a good one.
It's a great one.
Yes, next week we will have Nathan from Mitchell Defense, and we'll have Mike from Gideon Optics. And we're going to settle once and for all, what is the best optic for an AR?
I'm gonna miss next week. I'm sad.
6x24 by 50.
Huh, lies.
No, I'm going to answer that right now. It depends on what you're using the AR for.
No.
The best optic for your AR depends on. It's not. There's no answer. It's what you're using your AR for.
Oh, there's an answer. Because this is the all-around, all-encompassing. What is the best?
You get one optic. There's an answer.
Yeah, my Vortex Strike Eagle.
Still wrong.
If you're going to say there's one right answer, it's an LPVO with true zero magnification.
Still wrong.
No.
Iron
Gross.
sights.
Nope.
No, Garth's gonna say a prism optic.
Duh.
Yeah.
No, but prismatic isn't magnified. If you go with an LPVO,
Oh, that is
correct.
correct.
No,
contraire,
sir.
my friend.
No, okay. I'm gonna fight this before we even get to next week. If you run an LPVO with a true zero, you still have the ability to zero. If you're running a fixed magnification, you don't have that.
All I heard was
You
blah,
should.
blah, blah.
If you want the ability to run 0 to 6, 0 to 8, you need an LPVO. If you're going to run a dot,
this is the preview for next
if you're running
week.
fixed magnification, you can't go to 0.
No, I think you and I both have to make the effort, even though I know you're going to be at state and I'm going to be at state.
I'll be there. I'll get on.
I'm going to try my damnedest. I've got my iPad right here. I'm going to get my other headphones. I'm going to try my damnedest to be there.
Don't worry. Well, 1X is 0X. Same, but different.
See, that was me.
0 magnification or 1X. Yes.
Anyway, preview for next week. And if this is how he's
going to get okay, so hey, if you saw this, just think about how bad next week's going to get when we have actual professionals involved.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone out there, anything else to add tonight?
No, we're good, man. It was fun.
0 times 1 equals 0. Damn it.
That's what I say too, but it's fine.
If you're multiplying 0 and 1 don't matter. As a programmer, as a guy that writes code, if you start to divide, then it becomes an issue.
No, 1 times
you can't
0
divide by 0.
You can. You just get very, very bad results.
Yeah.
Been there.
Actually, Devin, a March 32 is probably the best scope ever for precision. But
you just cost that boy some money.
No, because he's probably not going to shoot F-class 1,000 meter.
Well, now he is. You challenged him.
Don't do this. It's almost as dumb as pulling your gun in a car dealership, which is an inside joke.
Okay, good. Because I was like, that's not me.
I don't know that one. I don't know who you get that inside joke with.
Yeah, that's not me. Now I know.
But all right. Well, everyone out there, this has been fun. I know that I've enjoyed this talk of suppressors and silencers and all those things. No more parting words from the rest of them?
Nah, I hope to see you all next week. I'm on vacation. I'm going to try to make the show because I can't wait. This has actually been something I've wanted to do for months. And then it got scheduled the week of my vacation. Whatever. Fine.
Same thing I've got every other week is hit up, all the 2A community on the socials. Hit them up. Don't be the problem child out there. Listen to people, like, share, do it, spread the word.
And everyone knows what I'm going to say. You guys go out there, you get training. Training is important because remember that no one is coming to save you. You will be your own first responder. And you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed.